Okay, guys, let's go ahead and start the Good morning. Hope you like that little intro video we had put together for you. A lot of people have been telling me lately they like that. It's a wonderful morning here, drinking coffee, getting ready for a Midweek Motivation Live. I hope you're ready to get through the rest of this week. Many people already watching. Shameless plug, Roasters Coffee, Amarillo, Texas. Multiple locations throughout Amarillo, Texas. Stop by and get some coffee. I think you'll really like that. Yeah, I hope everyone can hear me all right today. Everything is doing well. Everyone is doing well. We're going to talk today a little bit about leadership. Leadership, empathy, being in charge versus being having charge of. A lot of different things today. A few different pointers I want to talk to you about leadership. Comments already coming in. Good morning. Looking good. Thank you. Good morning, Sal. Good morning, Cody. A lot of people already watching the show. Love that. It's always funny when you're doing live video, you have to keep your eyes off of the little eyeball in the top left corner of the screen because it tells you how many people are watching, and it goes up and down, but it's a misleading number because it shows that a lot of people have tuned in, they start watching, and then they click off and that number drops right away when people go, oh, is this guy funny? Is he hot? Is he sexy? Is he smart? What is he talking about today? Because the goal with live video, right, is number one, to be live. It's organic. Number two is to stop the scroll when people come through across your post in social media. You want to stop that scroll, right? And you want to get them engaged. So we're always looking at being engaging. And when I keep my eyes on that little eyeball, I can see that someone already scrolled past. And I'm like, so sad. And that makes me sad because I'm a high eye. I want to see that number go up through the roof. But anyway, I know. Sorry, that's just me talking about leadership and being sad. So, hey, this is Midweek Motivation, not Midweek Downer. So I want to talk to you today a little bit about leadership and empathy in leadership. Some of you would say, I'm not really sure what empathy means. I believe that everyone watching this show is super bright, intelligent, most of it super sexy. Yes, as a matter of fact, I am. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Does this shirt bring out the blue in my eyes? That's all I want to know. So anyway, because that was the goal, right? That was the goal. We just want to look good on social media. It doesn't matter if we have content that's worthy, right? So anyway. Good fun. Empathy is not sympathy. Many of you would say, I'm very empathetic. I feel sorry for other people. Empathy is really more of an understanding of the position that another person is in, understanding of a condition, understanding of a position, understanding of a circumstance, more than it is sympathy. Sympathy, of course, is being sympathetic towards that person, feeling sorry for that person for the circumstance they find them in. And empathy is more of an understanding and knowing, which is something that is very important in leadership. So the goal, the first banner today we're going to throw up here is quit being in charge and start being aware of those who are in your charge. Tips for leadership and utilizing empathy in doing that. Many people think that if you're the owner, if you're the boss, if you're the manager, and I hate that word manager. I was titled a manager for nigh on 30 years or more in my life. I've shared some of that with you in the past. I've been a manager, but that's a horrible term to put on someone. No one wakes up in the morning and says, man, I sure would like to go into work and be managed today. Who enjoys that? Who feels like that they need to be managed? But when you are utilizing empathy in leadership, you start to become aware of those people who are in your charge. A lot of people that are owners, leaders, managers have the feeling that they are in charge and it's my way or the highway, and you're just here to do what I tell you to do. I'm in charge of you, therefore I have the authority to tell you what to do. That doesn't make you a leader. Leader is not based on rank. I actually have that note down here. Leadership is not based on rank, but rather the acceptance of the responsibility to take care of those around us, both below us and beside us. A good leader accepts the responsibility of that they have been given, and they look at those around themselves, many of them in the same position or in the same level they are, as well as all of those that are, that we have the charge of. And the true leader becomes empathetic, understands the responsibility that they have to make everyone's job easier, to make it easier, to make your people more equipped to help those beside you, locking arms with those beside you to help grow the company. Many stories have been told. I've listened to so many stories, and from people that I work with, and people that I traveled with, people that I associate with, that have told me stories about many different businesses, and I could share numerous stories with you about quality leadership. And one of the stories that was shared with me recently was some pastor friends of mine that were at a hotel. And every time they went into this hotel that had this wonderful scent, and every time they went into one of those motels, they smelled the same. And when they talked to the people, they were always motivated. They were all happy, and it didn't matter if it was the janitor or if it was the hotel manager. That person was always looking to serve them and make their stay more enjoyable. They asked them about that scent, and they said, this is actually the scent that we have adopted for our hotel chain, and we have found it to be agreeable and not unpleasant, and it makes everyone feel like they're at home, and that's kind of what we want them to feel like. This is their home away from home. And then they got to talking with one of the maids, and the maid loved her job, and they asked why, and that maid said, because every time I'm working, everyone asks me if there's anything they can do to help me. How am I doing? Is there anything they can do to make my job easier? How can they better facilitate me in the position that I'm in? And that's a wonderful story. Another story, I was listening to another leader, and he happened to be visiting a casino in Vegas. And when he was being served by this employee at this casino in Las Vegas, he went on and on and on about how much he enjoyed the place that he worked, how much he loved the place that he worked. And it was very rare that people can say, I love the place I work. Maybe you're in that same position. You get up, feeling like it's a drudgery, or it's like going to the dentist to get a root canal, thinking about having to go to work in the morning. Wouldn't it be great if you could say, I love where I work because my leaders are amazing? Well, this particular employee said, my leadership is amazing. They're always looking for ways to better facilitate me to be able to do my job better. And this particular story ends with, on the other hand, I also work at another casino, Caesar's Palace. And at Caesar's Palace, all they do is worry about numbers. They're always looking for the things that I have done wrong so they can get on to me or correct me for the things I've done wrong. Whereas where I work in this particular casino, they're always looking for reasons to catch me doing something right, and they reward me for that. And I love working here. I can't stand working at Caesar's. And that brings us to my next topic, leadership and empathy versus leadership and numbers. While numbers are important in business, we would all raise your hand. We would all have to say numbers are important because numbers are a part of business. If you are in business and the numbers always suck, you should probably rethink your business model because something is going wrong. And perhaps leadership and empathy, or leadership with empathy, could be the reason your numbers are suffering. If you are the type of manager or leader that is always looking for something wrong with why an employee is not performing to the level that you think they need to be performing, I would probably be willing to bet and say that it's a pretty safe bet to win that it is because of your leadership style. While numbers are important, they're not the ultimate measure of how successful your company is. A successful, thriving company is going to start from the top. It is going to work its way down, and it's going to run through all of the employees, the associates and workers in that company. And it's really going to be the success of that company is going to be based on how well we all take care of the client, the customer, whoever it is that those numbers are tracking, right? So if you have one or two bad eggs in a group of people and you're always noticing the same poor results from that person, maybe it's time you take the empathetic approach and you go and talk to that person and you just say, hey, I've noticed here for the last few weeks or the last couple of months that something's been going on here. And while we have this other level of performance with the other associates around you, your performance has been suffering. Maybe it's your attitude, and I'm sorry, I don't want to just bring that word out, but your attitude hasn't been right. You're just not in the game. Is there something wrong that I need to address? Is there something going on in your life that I need to be made aware of? Because while their performance is ultimately necessary to the success of my business, if I don't care enough to be empathetic about this person and their plight, the things they're going through, perhaps their marriage is on the rocks. Perhaps their relationship has fallen apart. Maybe their cars broke down or they're broke and they just don't have enough money and they know they need to find another career and they don't know how to tell you. There could be any number of things wrong causing this person's performance to suffer. But if you come in with the hard approach and the strong hand and just say either you increase your morale, you increase your attitude, you take better care of the customers, or you hit these numbers that I've asked you to hit, or you're out of here, right? The old meme I've seen in the past of the slave ship, all of the slaves are down there rowing and the ship's not going fast enough. And the slave driver says, beatings will continue until morale improves, right? Sometimes we feel like that's the way we have to run our companies, but I would challenge that. I would definitely challenge you to lead with empathy. Understand what's going on in the lives of your people, of your team. It takes teamwork to make the dream work, right? So if all you concentrate on is the numbers and not the people, your numbers will always suffer. Hello, Christine, tuning in all the way from the Oregon coast. Good to see you watching again today, too. People watching from all over. I love that. The next thing I want to talk to you about, and I don't want to harp on that, but leadership with empathy versus leadership and the numbers. Good morning, Jim. Good to see you on here also as well, my buddy. Two important things, the two most important things I believe that a leader must have are equal amounts of courage and vulnerability. And I'm not talking about vulnerability like I'm so emotional today, my cat hacked up a hairball and I think he's dying. I'm not talking about that kind of vulnerability. You must have equal amounts of courage and vulnerability if you want to be a successful leader that people are actually going to follow. You have to be strong enough to make the hard decisions, but you also have to be vulnerable enough in front of your people to admit when you've made the wrong decisions. That will cause your people to really, really, really jump in behind you and help you to move forward in the goals that you're trying to achieve. If you can just stay, in front of your people and say, hey, man, I screwed up. I really thought we were going the right direction. I made a wrong decision. Now we're going to have to fix it. I'm sorry. And this is now the task at hand that we're going to have to try to jump in to correct this. I think that you will find that your people will be so much more willing to jump in and link arms with you and help you achieve that goal when you admit that you were, that you made a wrong decision, because you're human too. And all that means when you're showing this vulnerability is, hey, man, I'm a human And I may be in a position that I was never trained for. Maybe I bought my position. Maybe my parents gave me my position. Maybe I did, like I was talking to you in a previous video. I kept my head down and I worked hard and I became excellent at what I did. So I got promoted and now I'm the boss over you. But just because you've been promoted to be the boss over someone because you can do their job very well, that doesn't mean that you're qualified to be the leader. So if you want to be the leader, right, you need to possess these equal amounts of courage and vulnerability. You need to be willing to say, hey, I am willing to take on the training, to take on the task at hand, and I'm going to do my best. But I'm also requiring on upper management or upper level people, the people that promoted me or gave me this position, to train me to do the job to the best of my ability, because a great producer isn't always a great leader, right? They're a well-trained producer. I sell real estate. I have a real estate team. I'm really good at selling homes, and I'm really good at working with people that want to buy a home. And I can train my people how to do that all day because I have had a level of success doing that. But as a leader, when I jumped into this and decided I'm going to be a leader and own my own team, run a team, never once did I think, and I didn't want to run a team, and other people wanted to work with me. And I said, okay, so I'll be the leader if you want. Funny story behind that for sure. But I had to take on the task. I had to gather up the courage to take on the role of learning how to be a leader. So I have hired coaches. I've fired coaches. I've taken courses. I read a lot of books. I go to a lot of seminars. And I do the things that I have to do to learn how to be successful in the position that I'm in, all the while understanding, being empathetic to the people that are in my charge. So my job is to facilitate them. My job is to help them understand their position better. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you, Cody. I appreciate the comments. There very much. Thank you. So I have to learn how to be better at what I do, right? And that all comes down to being vulnerable enough to say, I'm not sure that I know how to do my job. I appreciate the trust you've put in me to do my job, and I'm going to learn how to be better at that. Because I believe that that's our responsibility as a leader. If someone has given us a promotion, if someone has given us a job, that it is our duty to learn how, even if they're not qualified enough to teach us how to do that. That's another subject. But if it's to be, it's up to me. And in the leadership position that we're talking about today, I do challenge you to have equal amounts of courage and vulnerability. Okay. One of the things I want to change this up just a little bit and talk about now is some of the negative methods that people use to manage. Lying, hiding, and faking will get you nowhere. What will? How many of you can give me some likes, loves, and hearts? Raise your hand and say, I've worked with someone like that, or I have been someone like that in the past. And as a leader, you spend most of your time doing these three things. You're either lying and you're sharing things that are not true. You're hiding somewhere in the break room behind the business, or hiding in your office away from production or away from where the clients and customers are, where the action is, or you're faking it, pretending that you know something that you don't, simply because you have that rank. You have been given a rank. Lying, hiding, and faking will get you nowhere. No one trusts a liar. No one wants to work for a boss that is absent. And no one wants to work for a fake, because the only person that believes a faker is the faker. Your fakerisms are not hard to see through. People can always tell a fake. You can spot a fake a mile off. In real estate and in any other area of life, you can tell when someone is faking. And people will say, fake it till you make it. Pretend you know what you know until you can learn what you know. I don't necessarily think that that's true. You can feign success. You can be on social media and people think that you're brilliant and the smartest guy. And anyway. But when they actually get to know you, you start talking to that person, you can tell that they're faking it, right? It's just not true. They just don't have this stuff. So if you have the courage to learn how to be great, and you also have the vulnerability to be honest with your people, you're going to find people that fall in line behind you, with you, and link arms with you, and want to be led. Telling the truth, showing up even when you don't want to, and always being your true self, no matter the outcome, will propel you ahead as a leader. Always tell the truth, no matter what. And if you're supposed to be somewhere, be there and be present. And we all have this little thing that is our biggest nemesis, because we feel like this electric leash is our boss, but it's not. So when you are actually in the presence of your teammates, the people that you are that you have the charge with, to make them produce the best that they can, to help them achieve that outcome, don't let this thing get in the way. Show up, tell the truth. And when you show up, be there in the moment. Be present with the people. Don't be totally in disarray, thinking about something else. If you need to be there for your people, be there for your people. Your people need to see you in the trenches with them, leading, guiding, teaching, coaching, even if you don't want to. And when you're there, be your true self, no matter the outcome. Don't be a faker. People can spot a phony. If you want people to jump in behind you and follow the leader, no one wants to be managed, but I have found this to be true in America, in my life and in my circles. Most people want to be led. There are those that are natural born leaders, and they can't stand being led. They always have to be in front. They always have to be leading the way, and that's okay. Those people are great. It's wonderful if you are one and all of those things just come to you. But most people that don't know exactly what they're doing or how to be better at what they're doing need a leader, and they want to follow a good leader. Good leaders will always be noted as having followers, right? So if you want to be a good leader, these are the things I think that will help you the most. Telling the truth, showing up even when you don't want to, always be your true self, no matter the outcome. If something offends you, it's okay to say that offends you. If someone brings up a subject that you don't want to talk about, it's very easy for you to just say, I really don't want to talk about that right now. We need to focus on this, or we need to talk about this. Be who you are. Don't be a phony, right? And then the final point I want to get across to you today is simply this. We all strive as leaders to try to get the best out of our people, right? And I believe that a good leader is a person that can lead others to produce their best. If we ever get to the point of where we point the finger at a particular person on our team as a leader and say, you're not performing well enough, you're not doing what needs to be done, and you're going to be out of here. That old analogy always works. When you have one finger pointing away from you, you have three fingers pointing back at you. If it's to be, it's up to me. And the buck stops here. So if you have a poor performing employee, teammate, whatever it is, always take a really strong, hard look in the mirror, look at yourself, look at your management style, and then ask yourself some of these questions. Have I led that person with empathy? Or have I only been struggling to hit the numbers? Have I shown courage and vulnerability in front of that person? Or have I led with an iron fist and never shown them the fear that we may not achieve the goals we want to achieve, or what the result of that could be? Have you been the person that's been lying, hiding, and faking, and just collecting the paycheck of a leader? And if that's true, then you're a phony, and you should probably apologize, repent, and then strive to do better. Always tell the truth, show up, and be your true self. And then the final point. If you want to get the absolute best from your team, you would better be pouring your absolute best into your team. Everyone on our team is a sponge, and they soak up whatever it is that is around them. And if you want to wring the absolute best out of your team, then you had better be surrounding that person with your absolute best, because they are going to become a direct reflection of you as their leader. And if you want them to be the best, you had better pour your best into them. I hope this has helped you guys this week. I love you guys, man. I appreciate each and every one of you coming back to watch me every week. This has been Patrick Lee with Midweek Motivation Live. I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.